Hello and welcome to Off the Rack. I'm Shelley Beyer, and today we're stepping into part 2 of my breast reduction story. And I'm going to talk about what recovery actually looked like. If you haven't listened to part 1 yet, I talked about what led me to finally choose a breast reduction at age 52. And today I want to walk you through what happened next. Because no matter how much you read or how many stories you hear ahead of time, recovery is still very personal, still full of surprises, still deeply emotional, even when things are going well. So let's start with what surprised me the most. I was really nervous about nausea going into surgery. I don't like to throw up. So I made sure to talk to both my surgeon and the anesthesiologist about that ahead of time. So the morning of surgery, they gave me a patch behind my ear to help with nausea. And then they gave me Zofran right before surgery and right after surgery. They also let me take some Tylenol at 7 a.m. right before my cutoff for drinking fluids. And evidently, this was to help ease the pain of getting the IV started. So I just thought that was just such a kind human detail. And it made me feel so seen and cared for before I even stepped into the OR. Instead of general anesthesia, I had IV anesthesia, which meant I didn't need to be intubated. And that made such a big difference. I had way fewer side effects, no sore throat, and such a much gentler wake up. So, if you're preparing for surgery, I highly recommend asking your doctor about IV anesthesia. It really changed my experience. So, now here's the part that might shock you. I had no breast pain at all, none, the whole entire time. I've heard so many stories about tightness and soreness and hypersensitivity, even just riding in the car being painful, but I didn't feel any of that. I truly believe it's because I reduced inflammation ahead of time. And I did that through my carnivore diet, but I also used supplementation and mindset preparation. My body wasn't in a reactive state. It was ready and it was ready to heal. There was one pain I did not expect, and that was my rib. I had tremendous rib pain. There was a very specific, sharp discomfort from an internal suture that was used to help support the breast shape. And I guess it helps it in more in the long term, but it wasn't unbearable, but it definitely was persistent. But even that pain was manageable thanks to supplements and the food that I was eating. So, another thing that I noticed is that my bruising on my breasts underneath, it completely skipped the dark stages and went straight to the pale yellow, which the yellow is the last stage before it fades. It was completely gone in under 2 weeks, which still blows my mind. But even though physically things were going better than I imagined, there was still some emotional layers. I had to ask my husband for help constantly. And while he was more than happy to do it, I still felt bad asking. It's not easy to shift from being the one doing everything to the one needing everything. That was definitely an adjustment for me. I was patient with myself because I knew I deserved the rest. But asking for help over and over again, it tugged on my pride, even when I knew it was okay. I could lift my arms gently because my doctor encouraged movement to avoid frozen shoulder, but anything that required pushing or pulling was just out of the question. I could not push it myself up. I absolutely needed someone with me those first 3 days. By day 4, I was managing most things on my own, at least the things that I could do. But I didn't have the energy to think clearly or keep track of my meds because I had a whole list of things that I was taking. Having someone else in charge of my medications made such a huge difference. It took a mental load off me that I didn't realize I'd be carrying. Emotionally, I felt very excited, but also a little nervous. I didn't want to look at my new breasts right away. I didn't take my bra off until my post-op appointment on day 4. And that at that point they had removed the drains. And that was the first time I saw them. And I was extremely happy with them. I had asked my surgeon to go as small as possible, and he totally delivered. They looked like mine, or at least the version of mine I had always imagined. What surprised me again was how clean everything looked. My bandages, my incisions, there was no blood, no swelling, no drama. Everything was dry, neat, and calm. It was emotional and it was peaceful. Those early days were so much easier than I imagined. But around week 4, things got harder. My doctor cleared me for all activity, but my body, it wasn't ready. That rib pain was still hanging on. I couldn't shower without Advil. I couldn't do basic things without the sharp reminder that healing doesn't follow a schedule. That's when the frustration kicked in. Not at the healing itself, but at the mismatch between what I wanted to do and what I actually could do. I wanted to feel like myself again, but my body wasn't there yet. By week 5, things started to shift. And by week 6, I was finally returning to my rhythm. But I'll be honest, I thought I'd bounce back faster. And that's something I want to name out loud because I know so many women feel that way. You're cleared, but not capable. You look healed, but don't feel healed. And that can be a little confusing. So looking back, here's what I'd want to know if you're heading into your own recovery. First, what you eat, it matters. It matters more than anything. The way you nourish your body going in makes all the difference with your outcome. Second, mindset matters too. Let yourself feel what you feel, whether that's frustration, guilt, joy, grief, it all belongs. I didn't experience depression, but I know many women do. If that's you, honor it. You're not doing it wrong. Third, rest. Don't overdo it. Just because you're cleared doesn't mean your body is ready. Too many women push too soon. And that's when sutures pop or infections start. Your body is working so hard behind the scenes, and you need to honor that. Fourth, inflammation control is everything. Inflammation is what causes your skin to tighten. It makes healing harder, and this is why sugar, grains, and seed oils, they matter. Removing them matters. And adding animal-based fats and nutrient-dense foods really matter. The fifth thing is you need to just take your time. I didn't shower until day 5. I did sponge baths, and that worked great. I really wanted to wait until my drains were out, which I'm so glad I did, because showering too early can cause fainting, and there's no gold star for rushing. And then the sixth thing is don't fear the drains. Some women get drains and some don't. I was scared of them, but they ended up being one of the best parts of recovery. They kept everything so clean and dry. They prevented fluid buildup. And when they came out, there was no pain. My doctor had 2 people do it and then 1 deep breath, and they were gone easy. So they came out at the same time. And maybe most importantly, I just want to say, listen to your body. Don't listen to the calendar. And don't listen to someone else's timeline. Your body will tell you when it's ready and when it's not. This recovery gave me so much more than a smaller chest. It gave me clarity, it gave me confidence, and it gave me a deeper trust in the wisdom of my own body. And I want that for you too. If you're somewhere in the messy middle of recovery, you're not alone. Come find support and sisterhood in the Facebook group at Off the Rack Breast Reduction Support for Women. I'd love to welcome you there. and I'd love to meet you. In part 3, I'll be sharing more about identity and body image and what it really felt like to meet myself in a new shape. Until then, be gentle with your heart and kind to your body, and trust the beautiful work it's doing behind the scenes.